Hi, I'm Ward Lowe, and I'm here with Kinski Leuffer, Associate Counsel with the Texas Association of Realtors. And we're going to run through a little bit of how to use the Adverse Action Notice and Credit Score Disclosure. Now, this is a form, Kinski tells me, that was changed on January 1st, 2012 to go along with changes to the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act. It used to be called the Denial of Lease Application, but the form name changed, and there's some other changes that are causing confusion. So, Kinski, if you can walk people through this, we'll see if we can provide the people with some knowledge.
Okay, so just to give an overview of the Fair Credit Reporting Act and how that applies to rental applications, anytime a landlord or his agent takes a credit report from a rental applicant and decides to deny or take an adverse action based on the credit report, they have to provide certain information about where they got the credit report, so that credit reporting agency that the rental applicant can obtain a copy, and how to get a copy. So that was already part of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and our form actually complies with that. But back in July of 2011, the Fair Credit Reporting Act went a bit further to require additional disclosures if you take an adverse action based on a consumer or rental applicant's credit score. So that's why there's two options, number 2 and number 3. So number 1 doesn't apply here, but number 2 and number 3. If you're taking an adverse action based on an applicant's credit report, you're going to use box 2. If you're taking an adverse action based on a consumer or rental applicant's credit score, you're going to use box 3. Now, just to make two distinctions, let's say you're a landlord or an agent and you're using a tenant screening company rather than you obtaining the credit report yourself. You need to check with that tenant screening company to see if they actually use a credit score, because if they do, then you do have to check box 3. If they're not using the credit score but they're still getting credit reports, then you would check box 2 and provide all the information about the credit reporting agency. So again, I just want to go back to the adverse action notice. Like Ward said, it was once called denial of lease application, but this is actually required for any adverse action, not just denial. If you're taking an adverse action by requiring the rental applicant to pay a higher security deposit, you're still going to have to use this form if that decision was based on their credit report or credit score. That makes sense? Did you have any questions about that?
Well, and you mentioned we started with box 2 and box 3. There is a box 1, and just what does that do?
So that would be if you are denying the applicant based on any other reason other than their credit report or credit score. So let's say you pull their criminal history and that's the reason, maybe they have some kind of criminal record and you don't want to rent to them, you would check box 1. But again, if it's based on information obtained from their credit report or credit score, you would go to box 2 or 3.
And this notice is only to be used with applicants. Adverse action that happens during the lease period or after, this form is not involved with, correct?
Correct. It's only when you're going to take rental applications. So this is whether you're going to approve or deny them, this form comes into play. Once you've approved a tenant and they sign a lease, this form is not needed after that.
Okay, thanks, Kinski. And one more thing to note, you mentioned companies that do rental screening for people. The Texas Association of Realtors has a benefits partner called Smart Move. You can find that at texasrealtors.com/benefits, who they do independent screening for property managers. So thanks, Kinski.